Let's cross the side of the table and bring in Emma James of MediaWatch. Good evening to you.
Hi there.
Now, starting with a look at how the visits of two presidential candidates to a factory threatened with closure in the north of France went, and how it all played out online. What do people make of the visits of Le Pen and Macron to the Whirlpool factory in Amiens?
Well, I think it's fair to say that Emmanuel Macron has really been through the political spin cycle today with this visit to the Whirlpool factory. That was a pun intended. And Monsieur Cac in L'Opinion has come up with this wonderful cartoon with Marine Le Pen standing next to her Whirlpool washing machine with Emmanuel Macron pressed up against the window, and she's saying that should be well spun because she really did take control of today. And this is how things started out for Emmanuel Macron. Our reporter Claire Williams at the scene. Tyres were burning because, of course, people are protesting there already. This wasn't a protest against Emmanuel Macron. Up to 300 jobs could be lost because this factory is going to be moved to Poland. Now, Emmanuel Macron's visit was long planned, but when he got there, he was subjected to insults and whistles. And it's largely because Marine Le Pen really stole a march, beat him to it. As Le Figaro puts it, they've used this little gif of Super Mario Karts saying when Le Pen beats Macron to the Whirlpool site in Amiens. And their article says this was a real coup of communications, a PR coup, because it did produce scenes when Macron arrived. She had already been there talking to workers, taking some photographs with them. When he arrived, they were certainly stirred up and angry. Now, for Florian Philippot, who is, of course, a supporter of Marine Le Pen, the vice president of the National Front, he said for Marine there were selfies, for Macron whistles, the candidate of the people against the candidate of the oligarchy. However, not everyone feels quite the same about this. This Twitter user certainly does. He's saying that Macron's there talking alone to the elite media while Marine meets the workers. A picture speaks 1,000 words indeed. However, it does depend whether you carried on watching beyond that point, because what Emmanuel Macron did next was really to turn things to his advantage. As this reporter says, he learnt to use a megaphone and he then faced those workers, looked them in the eye and broadcasted on Facebook Live 43 minutes of discussions with these workers at the Amiens site. He answered their questions. Some of the questions were pretty tough and at times looked quite aggressive towards him too. So he stood his ground, he gave a lot of answers, and people were impressed if they were watching for that long, if they didn't just get those headline shots of the whistles and boos.
That's the thing, of course. Marine Le Pen goes there. She tells her supporters among that crowd what they want to hear. They cheer, they go along with that. And, of course,
Absolutely.
A difficult situation for anybody to go in and try to save. Sounds like he did it, but as you're pointing out, did anybody see it? That's the
Yes,
thing.
well, political analyst Election Data did, and he said this is the best 10 minutes in politics in the last decade from Macron at Whirlpool. Real praise indeed there from him. Emmanuel Macron's English-speaking Twitter site tweeted this: meeting ordinary people, arguing and convincing them, not just a simple photo shoot, a dig there at Marine Le Pen because she wasn't there for very long. That is the Emmanuel Macron way, he says. Another interesting viewpoint here, this Twitter user looking at the photograph of Marine Le Pen smiling next to somebody who's clearly quite tearful, presumably one of those people who's under threat of losing her job, and he calls Marine Le Pen the smiley scavenger and the wicked witch of the West.
OK. Not mincing the words at all.
Indeed.
We've also seen the unveiling of new posters for both of the presidential candidates. And, well, what are people making of them? I've seen them, that's why I'm laughing.
Well, yes, mixed reviews, as you might expect, because, of course, France is hugely politically polarised right now. These are the posters in question. Choose France or Together France from Emmanuel Macron. What a lot of people are commenting on is the fact that Marine Le Pen seems to have been quite heavily photoshopped. She's certainly a lot thinner than she normally looks. A lot of people saying that her head looks far too big for her body. And they've changed the logo slogan to choose Photoshop accordingly. This Twitter user has chosen to create an image with Marine Le Pen, as we more usually see her, looking a little bit more wrinkled, but they've also changed the word choisir, choose, to moisir, which can mean to mould, to go mouldy, to go rotten. So that is really rotten France. They've changed that slogan to. Others have been using the hashtag corrige ta Le Pen, which is correct your Le Pen. Again, that use of the word rotten, and la rance is rancid. So rancid and rotten, really not clearly not a Le Pen fan. This person says choose race, a nod, of course, to the background of the National Front, which nominally she's no longer the president of, but quite what that means nobody really knows. This one particularly hideous, Jean-Marie Le Pen, looking terrifying, has been grafted onto his daughter's face. Now, Emmanuel Macron hasn't escaped criticism, some saying his head's too close and it's getting into your personal space. Others have created slogans, together France except for the poor, and this one here has France for sale, en vente. But what people are also drawing comparisons with are the fact that he's used a very similar phrase to Jacques Chirac in 2002, La France ensemble. Of course, in 2002, Jacques Chirac beat the National Front, 80% of votes going to him. That is what Emmanuel Macron will be looking to emulate on May the 7th. We'll wait and see whether he manages it.
That's interesting. It's also interesting that Marine Le Pen's words very often do not differ much from those of her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, who she's supposed to have separated from. So, never falls far from the tree, the apple, does it? Emma, thank you very much indeed. Emma of MediaWatch. Will with the business. Great to see you, sir. And for you out there, please stay with us. Much more to come here live from Paris.